Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video, and today I want to give you one big takeaway from every single game one that we saw this weekend. We start off with Cavaliers versus Magic early on Saturday and wrapped up with Thunder versus Pelicans on Sunday night, a game that I was actually at. I'm here in Oklahoma City, that's why I'm in a hotel, and will be for the next few upcoming videos. I'm going to be seeing game 2 as well, really pumped for that. Atmosphere was amazing, the best sporting atmosphere I've ever been a part of, obviously. An amazing game, one that nearly gave me a heart attack as a Thunder fan, but yeah, I want to talk about all the games. I'm amped for the playoffs. It's been a lot of fun so far, some crazy performances, some upsets, and I think there's a lot of really interesting takeaways. So let's go ahead and get into it. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. And of course, comment down below what some of your big takeaways are from these 8-game ones. Let's kick things off with the game I was actually at in Thunder versus Pelicans. Again, insane atmosphere. I've never seen anything like it. And you could tell there are a bit of nerves with this Thunder team. They were a bit jittery, making a lot of mistakes that they usually don't make. The playoff atmosphere, I think, did get to them a little bit in this first game, but my big takeaway is I think this game overall showed me that they are ready for the playoffs, because down the stretch, when it got really close and the Pelicans took a bit of a lead and it felt like the momentum was slipping away, it was a game that you easily could have probably seen as a neutral fan the Thunder end up losing. They held on. They grinded out this physical contest, and that's something that people worried about with the Thunder was the physicality. How would they respond? Well, they responded by making huge play after huge play down the stretch. Chet Holmgren, a number of incredible blocks. Gilgeous-Alexander, that crazy and one against CJ McCollum late in the game as well. You had Cason Wallace locking up on CJ on the final possession. Just unbelievable defense from the future all-defensive first-team guard, if you ask me. J-Dub, some crazy buckets throughout the game. Big threes from some of the role players like Jay Will, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe. Just really a team effort. Overall, Lou Dort putting Brandon Ingram in the torture chamber. Even though it was not a great win, it was ugly. I would have loved to see the Thunder come here and blow out a Pelicans team without Zion at home. I think there were some jitters. They were also just throwing the ball away a lot more than they typically do. Some very confusing turnovers, like they were just expecting each other to be in a different spot when they're throwing the pass to the corner, and instead they're over on the wing. I think they were just kind of a little bit thrown off, but hopefully this game goes ahead and settles them in. I think it will. And the fact that they ended up winning this in a game where a lot of things, almost everything could have went wrong for the Thunder, it felt like at multiple points in the game. I think it speaks a lot to this team's resilience, their ability to stay focused in those moments. They grinded out, got a win, and I think next game they're going to come out way more poised and go out there and get a big win in game 2. For the Pelicans, I do want to give them a shout out. Herb Jones is one of my favorite defenders in the league, one of the best in the entire NBA. Trey Murphy is a star in the making. I think if he ever gets big minutes, whether it's here or somewhere else, he could become one of those role player type all-star guys like an Andrew Wiggins. I think in 2022, I think he could become that guy, or maybe even something more. He's that good. CJ McCollum wasn't great in this one, but he did have some tough buckets that were really annoying as a Thunder fan. And yeah, I felt like the Pelicans did a great job holding their own. They want to keep up this physical mindset for the series, and maybe they're going to make this more interesting than I gave them credit for. Next up, let's talk Mavericks versus Clippers. If I told you that this game was a blowout in favor of one of the teams, you probably would have guessed the Mavericks due to no Kawhi Leonard, but instead, Clippers get a very comfortable win, winning 109-97, and that 12-point end deficit felt like the closest it got for basically the entire second half, really the last 3 quarters even, because after the first quarter, the Mavs were down double digits, and they scored just 8 points in the second period. A Mavericks team that has Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving. They made all these moves to put more talent around Luka. It doesn't feel like they should be able to have that bad of a stretch, but really, maybe my big takeaway from this is I'm still kind of concerned about the supporting cast at times. Like in this game, Tyronn Lue, who I felt like coached an amazing game, easily outcoached Jason Kidd. They were perfectly cool with letting the other guys try to beat them. Like they were chilling if PJ Washington got some decent looks at corner threes. He went 2 of 7 on the night from the outside. Derrick Jones Jr., like they didn't care too much what he did. Maxi Kleber, they did not care at all. They were perfectly fine with letting him shoot. And it led to Luka having to do a lot, as well as Kyrie Irving. Kyrie was insane. I think it was the third quarter where he had like 20-something points, and the Mavs started to claw back a little bit, but it was just never enough. That big 2, Kyrie 31, 7 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. Luka 33 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists. Like they both went off, but it wasn't enough to even come within single digits of a Clippers team, again, without Kawhi Leonard. And a lot of that was the play of James Harden, who was amazing. 28 points from him, 6 of 11 from 3, 8 dimes. Paul George was pretty good too, 22 points, 6 boards. Zubats was insane out there, looking like Kareem at times. 20 points, 15 boards. He and James Harden chemistry have really built up over the course of the season. I feel like Terrence Mann was pretty good, 3 of 3 from the outside. That was huge. Russ, amazing defense. Like the Clippers did some really good stuff. They were clamping up a lot of the role players, but at the same time, they were pretty content with just letting them try to beat them and saying, hey, we're going to do whatever we can against Luka and Kyrie. And that doesn't always work because those guys are insane. But it does make me a little bit worried that they lost this game so comfortably without Kawhi Leonard playing, because they need to take advantage of these games. Every game that Kawhi isn't out there, they need to try and steal one. And in this game, obviously he didn't play, but we're not sure when he could come back. If you go down 0-2, or even if it's tied 1-1 and Kawhi returns, it's pretty concerning going into the rest of the series. So we'll see what happens with the Mavericks the rest of the way, but I am starting to have a bit of worry about the supporting cast again. Next up, let's do Bucks versus Pacers, and in this one, I guess the takeaway is Damian Lillard is still that guy. It has not been his best season. He's really struggled this year coming over to Milwaukee for the first time, especially after last year having probably the best individual season of his career. You wanted to see it a lot better in terms of efficiency, his aggression some nights. Him and Giannis were still trying to figure things out all throughout the year, but in the playoffs, no Giannis in this game. A lot of people favoring the Pacers. Dame went out there and dominated. He had 35 points in the first half. Would only finish with 35 points. He didn't score the rest of the way, but ultimately they didn't really need him to because they took a big lead, held on to that. They got a lot from Chris Middleton over that stretch with 23 points, 10 boards, 4 dimes. Bobby Portis was great with 15 points and 11 boards. He's been a guy that stepped up huge in the absence of Giannis all year. We talked about that in my series preview video. They need more of this from him. Jay Crowder went out there, knocked down a 3. Pat Connaughton, Malik Beasley knocked down 3 of 7 threes. Like, they held up. They did a really good job in the absence of Giannis, and the big player was Dame. Like I again said in that series preview, if they want to win this one, if they want to take advantage of a lower seeded team in the Pacers who don't have a lot of experience, they need to make sure they don't steal any games until Giannis comes back, and Dame has to step up to be that guy. He did exactly that in this game. If Dame keeps doing this, it's going to be hard for the Pacers to win. I mean, the Pacers, they got a lot of open looks. They just weren't hitting them. Siakam was amazing with 36, 13, 2. He shot 15 of 25. Like, he was amazing. Just the rest of the guys didn't really perform. Tyrese, only 7 shots. He has to shoot more if they want to win this series or even compete in it. He has to be better. But I mean, none of it matters if Dame is going off the way that he does. They need to find some kind of adjustment. They held Dame pretty much in check throughout the regular season, but playoff Dame, maybe he's arrived now. He's ready to step up, be the guy that the Bucks need. We'll see how the rest of the series goes. I don't think it's game over for the Pacers immediately, but hey, shout out to Damian Lillard for really stepping up in this one when a lot of people thought he wouldn't. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and thank the sponsor of this video, Autograph. Autograph's an app where real fans get unreal rewards. Basically, you go ahead and sign up using code ThreeCone. You need a code to get in, so I've got one for y'all. And when you get on the app, you just scroll through the feed and it's got all the top podcasts, videos, articles about your favorite team all in one spot. And as you read through them, just by being a fan and consuming content, you earn these points that help you win cool prizes, like the chance to enter a raffle for really cheap discounted playoff tickets or just tickets going into your team's next season. You could also win signed memorabilia, jerseys, things like that. And again, it's just all by being a fan, which is a super cool concept in my opinion. Not to mention, you can refer friends, see where you stack up against them and other people in your fandom on a leaderboard. You can level up, earn specific rewards for you as you get higher in rank, and claim achievement trophies too. There is a lot to do. And again, this is just all by scrolling through the feed and doing stuff you already do as a fan. It's a really cool concept. I really like it. Go ahead and download Autograph. Shout out to them for sponsoring this video. And when you sign up, use code ThreeCone, and you'll see some of my videos on there too to help you earn some of these points towards rewards. Now let's go ahead and get back to the video. For Timberwolves versus Suns, my takeaway is that maybe I was overreacting a little bit. I said in my series preview video as well as my playoff predictions video, I was taking the Suns in 7, but that I could see a world where Minnesota goes out there and just shows why they were the better team the whole season and wins this in like 5 or 6. Turns out we may be in that reality because in game 1, they decimated the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant had a good game. He was cooking out there with 31 points, but they kept Devin Booker completely in check. They were just torching the Phoenix Suns on the offensive end, specifically Anthony Edwards. I mean, we talk about a guy who rises in the playoffs. Last year against the Nuggets, he was insane. And this one, went out there and had 33 points, 14 of 24 shooting, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. He was great. Rudy Gobert really clamped up down low. Chris Finch had an amazing game plan in place. Karl Anthony Towns held his own decently enough against Kevin Durant. They let him kind of just play that 1v1 matchup, prevented any wide open corner threes. Like Grayson Allen really didn't get involved that much. It was a good game plan from the Timberwolves. I got to give Chris Finch a lot of credit for what they did. Gilgeous-Alexander Walker as well was ridiculous with 18 points, a plus 28 in 29 minutes. He was insane. And yeah, the Timberwolves went out there and made a big statement in game 1. It's not over. Like game 1 doesn't decide the whole series, but maybe I was overreacting when I thought this was the nightmare matchup, and really just the Wolves have been the better team the whole time. For Sixers versus Knicks, my takeaway is that Joel Embiid may just never get a healthy playoff run, which is really unfortunate Coming into this game, there were already questions about how good he was going to be, what percentage was he at in terms of his health, and then he had that one play where he threw one of the most insane off the backboard self alley-oop dunks I've ever seen, and immediately went down. He was grabbing at his knee. He went back to the locker room, did come back for the second half, but didn't quite feel like himself. He was still good, was really good, the Sixers, when he was on the court, but it led to a little bit of a run at the end of the second, and then the Knicks down the stretch hit some big shots, particularly Josh Hart was amazing. He hit like 3 threes in the final 6 or 7 minutes to go ahead and give the Knicks the win. Ultimately, I feel like the Sixers, this was a fine game for them. I wouldn't worry too much if I were them. I think that they held Jalen Brunson in check. Brunson really struggled. Maybe you think if you're a Knicks fan, well, Brunson struggled and we still won, but I think they were perfectly fine with letting the role players beat them, just loading up on Brunson, which has kind of been a Nick Nurse strategy for a while, and it didn't result in a win, but they kept it close. But none of this matters if Joel Embiid isn't healthy. And I don't know if he is. It only feels like these are going to continue to be incidents where he goes down for a little bit, has to go to the locker room, doesn't quite look like himself. I just want to see a fully healthy Joel Embiid playoff run this year in particular, where earlier on the season before his big injury, he was playing the best basketball of his career, and now it just doesn't feel like he can consistently stay on the court and play at that level because his body won't let him. It's really disappointing. I hope there's some way he can fight through this and keep playing, but if the Sixers and he want to just preserve his career long term, they may have to shut him down at some point in the series. For Lakers versus Nuggets, my takeaway is that Denver may just be inevitable, specifically against this Lakers team. We knew it was going to be a struggle for LA coming into this. They got swept by them last year, but they kept it close. And in game 1, they went up pretty big in the first quarter, first half. I think they went up by as much as double digits. And then the Nuggets all of a sudden erased the deficit completely. It was a tie game before Braun hit like a half-court 3 to make it a 3-point lead, I think it was, for the Lakers going into halftime. And then the second half, the Nuggets just did their typical thing and dominated, winning by double digits. And for the Lakers, you can't ask for much better from your top 2 guys, like 32, 14, and 5 from AD on 12 of 13 shooting, 27, 6, and 8 from Braun on 10 of 16 shooting. They even held Jamal Murray in check. He shot just 9 of 24 from the field. He was not very good in this game. It just didn't matter because Nikola Jokic, there's still no way to stop him. And I saw one Lakers fan tweet out, I can't believe the Lakers front office didn't do anything to get a Nikola Jokic stopper at the deadline. There is nobody. Nobody can stop Nikola Jokic. It's not possible. You can try going the small thing and letting AD run with Rui on him. You can put Anthony Davis on, one of the best defenders in the league. It's never going to matter. 32, 12, 7, above 50% shooting in this game. Just elite stuff, dissecting the Lakers defense at every opportunity. A good Lakers defense at that. Aaron Gordon was pretty good. Michael Porter Jr. had 19 points. KCP, great defense from him. 12 points, 4 threes. You just can't stop the Nuggets. And maybe no team in the West can stop them. I think there are some threats, definitely, but every time I watch Denver perform, specifically in these postseason settings, it's insane how quickly a game where it feels like it's getting away from them can suddenly turn into a game where they're extremely comfortable and walking out with a double-digit win. Felt like one of the Lakers' better chances to go ahead and steal a game with how they were playing early, and it still didn't matter. Also, D'Lo, again, cannot seem to figure out the Nuggets. 6 of 20 shooting in this one, 1 of 9 from 3. He's got to be way better if the Lakers want to even compete in this series. For Magic versus Cavaliers, I think one of my big takeaways was that they have to get more shooting for this team. I know it's not something they can do mid-series. They just have to hope their shooters figure it out. But watching this offense was crazy in this game. The Magic went out there in the year 2024, put up 83 points in a playoff game. And the Cavs defense gets a lot of credit for that. But gosh, the Magic were just bricking a lot of open threes. 0 of 5 from Gary Harris, 1 of 7 from Jalen Suggs. 0 for 4 from Cole Anthony, who was struggling. 0 of 7 from the field as a total for him. And what makes it even worse is that Powell had a great game. He did have 9 turnovers, but I think a lot of that was because there wasn't a lot of room for him to operate with the overall just lack of spacing, how much Cleveland could key in on him, because they didn't care if guys shot outside shots. But at the same time, he had 24 points, he had 7 rebounds, 5 dimes, shot 9 of 17 from the field, had a couple huge momentum shots to keep them in this game as long as he could, before the Cavaliers did end up running away with it. But even still, Powell was really good. And Franz, he didn't shoot great, but 18 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. I felt like he was pretty good as well. Just not enough shooting around them, not enough overall offensive punch. Again, I know they can't fix this in this series, and it's part of the reason why I picked the Cavaliers to win, because I just think this overall lack of offense is too much of a barrier to the Magic to win this series. They need to just hope their shooters figure it out in the offseason. Please get some shooting for Paolo and Franz. And finally, for Heat versus Celtics, my takeaway is that KP was the missing piece. I love the Porzingis trade when it happened for them, and all season it was clear they had locked this team at a new level, but now people are going to see it that haven't been watching the Celtics this season, because Kristaps Porzingis is a perfect fit for this squad. I can't believe not only did they get Porzingis this offseason, but they got 2 first-round picks in the trade when they acquired him. It's unbelievable. Brad Stevens is an all-time great GM already. he was ridiculous in this game. Put up 18 points, 7 of 13 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3, 4 boards, got a steal, 2 blocks. But the big thing was that he helped the Celtics be way more comfortable. Specifically, the Heat tried to run the zone that they ran against the Sixers to great success. They ran against the Bulls that completely stifled them. And I know, no Jimmy Butler in this game, so that changes things up a little bit. But even still, the Heat have been fantastic defensively with Jimmy Butler on or off the court. But in this one, they can't really lock into that zone because KP at the 5 is able to stretch the floor so effectively, playing a bunch of different spots. He's a good passer. He's able to shoot over anybody. This is stuff that Nikola Jovic himself said in his post-game interview, noting that last year against the Celtics, the zone was really successful, and it's a reason why they ended up winning that series. But in this series, because they now have KP, they can't really run it the same way. It's just impossible to guard them, and it's what makes the Celtics so dangerous. I've seen so many people say that they don't believe in the Celtics because they've been the favorites before and that they'll just do what they always do and fall apart, but this team is extremely different, and a big part of that is Kristaps Porzingis, what he brings to the table, both offensively, like we talked about, as well as the defensive end, just giving them a guy with some more size, some shot blocking ability, rim deterrence. He was incredible in this game. Really, the Celtics as a whole just were amazing. The only part where they slipped up a little bit was late in the game when DeLon Wright was cooking them, because of course he did. It's a Miami Heat staple where some random role player goes off. He hit 5 threes in this game. So they brought it back a little bit, but the Celtics do still win by 20. They're going to sweep this series. And I think as time goes on and when they get to tougher and tougher matchups, people are going to realize how great Porzingis is and how special he is for this team. But yeah, with all that being said, I think those are my takeaways from each of the games. Let me know down below in the comments, like I said earlier, what some of your takeaways were. What were your thoughts on the first weekend of the playoffs? Did you love it? Were you hoping for some closer games? I know there were a lot of blowouts on Sunday in particular. I feel like it was a great start. We've got some more games here on Monday night. We're going to continue to have playoff basketball every day here going towards the NBA Finals. Really exciting stuff. And yeah, can't wait. I'm going to, of course, have coverage. Despite me being out of town, the videos aren't going anywhere. I want to talk about these games way too much to have them go anywhere. So leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.